Hello and welcome to my brand new video here on YouTube. Today I'm going to be talking about soul contracts, karmic baggage, and how both of these things may be blocking you in your business right now. I want you to think about perhaps now or previously where you've hit a wall in your business and you just can't seem to go over it. No matter what you try, no matter what strategy you try, what course you take, what healing you do, there is a wall and you keep coming up against it and you keep coming up around again and hitting it over and over and over again, and it's becoming frustrating. Right? You really want to go across this threshold of success. You have big goals. You are shooting for, say, the millionaire business. You know that there is something deeper that is blocking you from this success, but you're at your wit's end trying to figure out what that is. So you are the type of person as well who has done a lot of healing work. You're not on your first rodeo. You've been in your business for a while. You've been in business long enough to know that when you hit walls like this, that it is something deeper, something underneath, something more profound than just a strategy lack or something superficial. You've done lots of healing work, lots of trauma healing work. You've done all the mindset work. So today I'm going to give you a piece of advice and my story to help you overcome a wall like this if you're at it right now in your business. I'm going to tell you to look beyond this lifetime, to look into past lifetimes. There's this beautiful idea from the Aborigines in Australia that every single lifetime is like a waterhole, and we can have thousands and thousands of different lifetimes. So if you imagine all of these potholes, waterholes laid out in a line, in a square, in a grid, a matrix. This is your energetic matrix of this lifetime, past lifetime. If you imagine that in one of the waterholes gets some mucky dirt, some algae, it's polluted with something. This water then drips through this murkiness, this energetic goo drips into all of your other water holes. It pollutes your energetic matrix. There is literally something holding on in your energy that is blocking you in this lifetime and will have blocked you over and over again through past lifetimes. Often we don't see all of our past lifetimes. It is one or two specific experiences, usually the really traumatic experiences that come back to us in memory. Usually when we're in a subconscious state, when we're in an altered state of consciousness. Just like in this lifetime, the reason why we remember these extremely traumatic events is because trauma is created in the moment where we are overwhelmed emotionally. And when we're overwhelmed emotionally, that is where literally a neural pathway begins in your brain. And as you remember the event over and over again, you just deepen this neural pathway in your brain, and the brain holds onto it. It remembers all of the triggers to the danger that you ended up in the unsafety that you ended up in. And often we will remember these traumatic events throughout our lives. Sometimes they are so traumatic that the brain blocks them, but at some point when you begin this healing journey, they come through. You remember those moments in childhood where you were traumatized. You start to see why you're triggered in your everyday life by certain things, but certain sounds, certain people, certain situations. And if we don't heal these traumas, we actually find ourselves in repeated patterns of the same trauma. This is what will have happened through your past lifetimes. You will have gone through the same things over and over again to learn the lesson that you needed to learn. But as you shy away from these patterns, as you shy away from these experiences, because of your fear, because of your pain, because of your hurt, you never get the wisdom from them. So often these traumas start to show themselves to us, because it is time to clear that murky water in that water hole that is polluting our entire grid of water, our energetic matrix. We are holding on to something in our energy that it is time to release so that you can ascend to your next level. And what I want to talk about today is specifically why karmic baggage, soul contracts are coming up for you. I take coaches through a certification that I developed called the Quantum Leap Intensive. The intention of this certification is to use quantum physics, quantum science, and all that I know about neurosomatic, somatic work, trauma release, what I call somatic trauma transcendence, because we're going to talk about that in a little while, how most of your trauma is actually sitting in your body as memory rather than in the conscious mind. So I put everything together that I knew that's helped me, because when I was going through my journey of releasing trauma, a lot of the things didn't work for me. They were too top down in the mind. They were too focused. They weren't touching the unconscious memories in my body. With what I knew about quantum science and the way that had created quantum leaps in my own business, I wanted to bring this all together. And so I created the Quantum Leap framework. So this is a 4-step framework to take you from the survival instincts that our trauma creates to your full creative power, your unleashed potential. And what often happens with my clients that go through this framework, they go through the steps and they have massive releases, massive quantum leaps, and then they find themselves back at step 1. And I always say this is just a sign of ascension, because the higher we ascend, the more we dig up from the pond muck, you know, the stuff that the anchor is truly in. And often this stuff goes back into past lives. You might have heard of soul contracts in relation to people. You have a soul contract with a certain person. You are always meant to meet. The meeting is on purpose. Your relationship is on purpose. The two of you were always meant to co-create. We hear people talk about twin flames, and these are the rarest form of soul contract. The idea that there is somebody who is especially important to your path, knowing that our path is always written, that we're always in co-creation. There is somebody there that is meant to step into your journey. And often these twin flame relationships are very volatile. They're difficult. They're not easy relationships. Often twin flames don't stay together because of that. But the invitation in these connections to struggle is to learn, is to grow, is to take the wisdom and evolve onto your soul path. Often we come away from our soul path. Our traumas take us away from our soul path because the soul path feels dangerous. The soul path feels unsafe. And basically, a soul contract with the universe is what you made in your ultimate creation, the path that you were meant to take. And along that path, you might have experienced something that created extreme fear, extreme trauma, extreme hurt, and you simply made a promise with your soul for that piece of your soul that was traumatized to stay there, to be frozen in time. As you walk forward with the void that is left of yourself, of your wholeness, but you walk forward feeling safer. You walk forward feeling like, I will never be in this situation again. And your soul literally fragments and is lost in time. And what happens as you go through life and go through lifetimes as well is you try to fill this hole. You try to fill this void within yourself with certain things, certain behavior patterns that come up. Maybe you get into the same sorts of relationships. Maybe you get into the same sorts of trouble. Maybe you sit in the same sort of unfulfillment, but it is repeated and it is coming from you. It is your behaviors, your patterns of action that wind you up somewhere that you really know that you don't want to be, because you feel the soul contract in your heart space. Deep down, you know you're meant for more. You know you are meant to be, you are here for a reason, and you're not fulfilling that reason. You're not fulfilling that purpose. So the power is to discover the originating trauma. The power is to find that moment in time that your soul fragmented and actually use what the Māori here in New Zealand call a waiata te wairua, which is literally it's a song to call the soul home. Many Indigenous communities believe in oneness with spirit, the use of natural things like trees, plants, birds, song to work with your soul and invite it back to your body. I learned about the waiata o te wairua when I was working with a teacher plant called red Matipo. Red Matipo is a native plant here in New Zealand, a beautiful tree. And this plant is supposed to have the power to sing the song that calls your soul home. In my book, Leading with Light, I share a story about how when I was feeling the call to shamanism, when I was feeling that inner stirring of my inner shaman, I was really confused by what I was feeling, what I was seeing, what I was hearing, the direction I was being pulled in. None of it made sense. I couldn't fit it anywhere. And so I took myself out for a walk down to our local reserve where are the most beautiful trees. And I always feel calm down there. I always feel connected to my dog who I lost and nature. And as I was walking, I suddenly heard the trees singing to me. And they were singing, why? And I thought to myself, I finally lost it. First thought, the trees are actually singing to me now. And I went home and I got onto Google and I understood from some Māori language te reo page that wai was something that was sung to say follow. And I understood that I was meant to follow this feeling that I was feeling inside and not question it. Just as wairua, water, you just follow the flow. And I trusted and I began a program. Now, one of my surprises around this program, a shamanic studies program, was that we're not studying shamanism. We're actually being invited to connect with our inner shaman and to allow those shamanic gifts to emerge through us, through the actual healing that the shaman would do with their people, with their patients, with their clients. You know, we all have these gifts. We all have access to these parts of our brain that the shaman used to heal, for divination. However, you cannot access them in fear. And this is why the shaman had a lion's heart. The shaman went through rites of passage to wake up their lion's heart. And once you release these fears, these gifts emerge. So on this program, I connected with the teacher plant, red Matipo. And I thought to myself, I wonder what those plants are called down in the reserve that sang to me that day. And sure enough, I went on to Google and I found that the tree in the reserve is actually the red Matipo plant. I was mind blown and then I wasn't, because that is how my life has unfolded over the last few years, really connecting to spirit and understanding that I am always guided. And red Matipo took me to a place in my past lifetime, that was extremely confronting. To give you some background, in 2021, I experienced a present life trauma that really rocked me. And from that day forward, I began to pivot my business. I had been working purely strategically with my clients, helping them on social media. And I always had worked with visionary coaches, light leaders, but I decided that I was going to focus my leadership more into this space only with visionary light leaders and starseeds. And I was going to take my work more into the transformational space. I understood that strategy alone is useless when you have unhealed, unprocessed trauma, when your nervous system is dysregulated, when you're stuck in patterns and behaviors that you cannot overcome. So this is how I had already launched my certification at this point, but I was very much playing small with the transformational work that I was doing. And I knew that it was time to play big. I knew it was time to step out. And I started to use the language awakened wealth, knowing that to be truly wealthy, we have to awaken to our mystery. We have to understand all the unconscious parts of ourselves that have blocked us in the past. And underneath these blocks are always our gifts. And when we can lean into our gifts, that love harvests. I truly believed that love harvests, and yet that belief felt like it had a ceiling above it. I shared in my last video, Awaken Your Inner Shaman, how I had seen a butterfly in a vision that kept hitting its head upon a glass ceiling. And this was my glass ceiling. This was where I was feeling that in leading this movement, I could only ever go so far. And I was trying to understand why. And Red Matipo led me to a memory from a past lifetime where I was guided to myself by a black raven, and I was in the desert. I was naked in the desert. I was bleeding in the desert. I was thin in the desert. And in my hand, I was holding a golden chalice. And I said to myself, water, please. Just give me water. All I need is water. And I looked into the eyes of myself, naked in this desert, thin, dying, basically. And I understood that I had done something. I felt like I had done something that was punishable to this point, that I had been stranded here, chained up, unable to move. And I held myself and I looked into my eyes and I said, whatever you did, it wasn't wrong. You can forgive yourself. And as we together looked at each other, we both rose up as this giant raven, this black raven. It was quick, it was fast, and then it was gone. And I thought my journey with this memory was done. I didn't think much more about it until I was in altered state of consciousness again. And all of a sudden, the raven was leading me back to this same place. But this time I walked past where I'd seen myself in the desert. And I saw myself in a kingdom. I saw myself looking out upon a kingdom of light, golden light, everybody in this kingdom, flourishing, thriving, doing what they loved, hands in the earth, crafts, artistry, music. And I could feel the abundance. I always say money is energy, money is everywhere, money is available to all of us. It's just whether you are in the energetic state, openness, you are an open vessel to let it flow through. And this is what we're doing when we're clearing our energetic matrix. We are letting go of the energy that blocks receiving abundance with an open heart, with trust, in complete safety. And I saw this kingdom in light, in love, and then I saw myself being dragged from my throne and slashed between my legs, my womanhood taken away, punishment for being in love with another woman, being in love with another goddess, and running this kingdom in the way that was my way, in this beautiful awakened wealth. And that was where my soul had fragmented apart. That is where my promise had been, to leave that movement there, to leave that leadership there, to never risk that unsafety again, to allow my womanhood to be castrated. This vision moved me, traumatized me. In all honesty, it took a few weeks for me to comprehend what I had seen and understand what I had felt. I was working with another teacher plant by this point, a few weeks later, called Tawa, and that actually is about reintegrating the soul piece that you have lost. And so I was beautifully supported to reintegrate this soul piece, and all the soul piece needed to know was the wisdom of this lifetime, everything that I know, everything that I have built in complex stability within myself, safety, security within instead of without, for this soul piece to feel safe to come home. So my takeaway from this story is, don't kid yourself with the I'm done story. I've done all the healing work. I've done all the trauma work. I've done all the mindset work. If you're stuck, then there is something in your energy body that is keeping you there. And the invitation is to embrace that mystery and to step in. I created a 9-step Awakened Wealth blueprint to help visionary coaches, light leaders, and starseeds to embrace their mystery and lead in their full light, to find their radical expression, to walk their soul path, to let go of the traumas holding them back, to create money in a way that creates freedom by leaning into what they love, and being paid for it. The first step in the Awakened Wealth blueprint is this beautiful method that I call the 7x7 method, that gives you 7 neurosomatic rituals you can do in 7 minutes a day, 7 times a day. So it's actually 7x7x7, but we'll call it the 7x7. And what this does is gives you time every single day to step back from the busyness of life and connect with yourself, process emotions, create new perceptions of the situations that you are in, maintain energetic coherence. Before I go forward any further, I just want to say, if you are liking this video, please like it. Please subscribe to my channel, hit the notifications bell. And when I come live with videos like this, you're going to get a note straight to your phone. Like this video, subscribe, and maybe even leave me a comment. Let me know whether this is resonating with you, whether this is maybe giving you the aha moment that you didn't even know you needed to have. So what I want to finish on is your trauma-organized nervous system. So in business, as a business CEO, as somebody leading a company, you will often be in a beta consciousness focused, switched on, which is why the 7x7 method is so powerful, to enable you to pull back and stay connected to your body, because your body is where the memories of your trauma are held. Yes, we have the imprint in the brain, but the imprint in the brain stem guides the nervous system. So the nervous system is organized by this trauma and will respond programmed by this trauma as well. So we have a nervous system ladder, which is your parasympathetic nervous system, sympathetic nervous system, and then up here we have this place of Zen. This can also be called the window of tolerance. If you have a large expanded window of tolerance, you have a very non-trauma organized nervous system. You know, you've either healed all of that shit, or you didn't experience it in the first place, and you tolerate stress well, you tolerate life well. However, if you have a trauma organized nervous system, you don't. You have a very narrow window of tolerance. You fall down that nervous system ladder regularly, and your body is basically in a state of chronic stress. And this has detrimental effects on your well-being, your holistic well-being, the cortisol that's running around, adrenal fatigue. It causes cognitive issues because you're literally damaging your brain. And it also leads to more of these patterns of behaviors because you're driving to keep yourself safe. But what you're actually doing is keeping yourself small and contracted. So this is what I was saying about the difference between the top-down and the bottom-up approach to trauma healing. Top-down is we're just going to focus on what you think, we're going to talk about it, whereas bottom-up is actually knowing that the trauma is held in your body and working with a somatic approach. The principle I'm going to finish on, and where I really felt my journey was complete with the healing that I did with this memory from my past life, is what I call the triangle of power that we hold in the center of our energy body. So if you think that this lifetime's energy matrix is part of this wider grid, it has a central core. It is your core. It is where your earthly energy aligns with the cosmic force that is running through you all of the time. It's a center of power, a triangle of power. And it's a triangle because it has a base and 2 sides. And the base sits at your root chakra, and the tip of the triangle sits at your solar plexus, which is your center of worthiness, the place where you make the decision to say yes to something or to say no. You either feel good enough and open, and then it comes up into the heart space, and then it comes up into expression, and then it's coming through and it's, leaving a legacy, or it hits your solar plexus, you contract and you say no. And so we need this complex stability. We need all sides of this triangle to be firm. And where that starts is clearing the base chakra. All of these lifetimes, all of this karmic baggage, soul contracts that you have made with traumatic experiences in the past, and also in this lifetime as well. We need to clear that base chakra, and that gives us our solid base. Then up the one side is our nervous system. So our nervous system is obviously imprinted by, it's the body imprints, it's the unconscious body memory. So we have to really get clear with what we are holding on to and actually clear it so that your nervous system is regulated. It is not a trauma-organized nervous system anymore. It is a simply powerful, regulated nervous system. And then on the final side over here is all of the beautiful, empowering belief systems, all of the new memory. I call the past life trauma for far memory. That is far memory. We want the now memory. We want the now experience. Just like my soul piece knew from what I had created in empowering belief systems, new empowering belief systems that I've created as I've gone through my business, as I've hit those walls, hit those challenges, and seen every single one as an opportunity for growth, and taken that wisdom and installed it. We then have this powerful three-sided triangle, this complex stability in our center of ourselves. And this holds us strong. This is our safety and security within, never, ever looking outside of ourselves for validation, for the something to tell us that we're safe, basically. You are hitting your head against a wall over and over and over and over again. The minute you come out of yourself and you look for your life, your environment, your circumstances to give you that security has to come from within. So what I'm really excited to share with you is that I share all of my most powerful tools in a mystery school, a 7-day mystery school. Now, this mystery school runs live once a year, and the dates for the live mystery school are down in the description below. If you look at those dates and we are nowhere near it, because I know these YouTube videos, they go around forever, you can access this mystery school as a recorded mystery school through my book, Awaken Your Miracle Frequency. It is easier than you think to have it all. So either going live into the mystery school or getting the mystery school through the book, I really recommend this as your way to tap into your mystery, to allow this far wisdom to come through you, to break the bad soul contract, to call your soul pieces home, and to fulfill your soul contract with the universe, the path that you are here for, the hologram of your seed potential within, lived out through you, through your life, your choices, the behaviors and patterns of action that lead to freedom and impact on your life and other lives as well. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. As I said, subscribe, like the video, engage with me. Maybe come over to my community page as well and say hello there as well. This has been amazing, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.